Welcome to my new TikTok channel. I started this channel with one intention, and is to tell a story. The name of the story is Who Did I Hire? And really, really, truly, I ask. This is how I went from hiring my stepsister to work for my dog grooming salon to getting her arrested. But to really, truly get to the beginning of the story, we have to go all the way back. We have to go all the way back to about 2012. This is when my mother met current husband, we'll call him Jake. My mother had recently just come out of a pretty shitty relationship, and Jake was still currently in a shitty marriage and wanted to leave. And he liked my mother. And so, like how a lot of men need a reason to leave, or you know what, a lot of women too, getaway car. She literally, that's a lyric in her line. So, you know what? Sometimes people need a reason to leave a relationship, even though there's like so many already. Like a person is kind of like almost an excuse. And so he leaves her. He did it so abruptly that he just like kind of showed up and was like, to my mom's house, like, hi, I'm here. Like, I left her. I gotta move in. And my mom's like, okay, so I guess this is really happening. And that was a really dumb mistake on his part, because he should have not directly moved into his girlfriend's house from, like, separating from his wife. He should have got his own place, because that really fucked him over in court. He ended up having to pay this woman so much money because she got so pissed because she never had to work. She had been with Jake. Whoa, we have to like slow all the way back to introduce one of the main characters and main villains of the story. So let's call her Amy, because of the Thank You Amy Taylor Swift song, you know, that's like a fierce villain name now. And Amy is, how do I put this politely? One of the worst living creatures on the planet. Let's take it back to how Jake met Amy. This beautiful love story of like a 18-year-old falling in love with a 14-year-old, you know, like just like the cutesy type of romances. They end up getting married, have kids, miserable relationship. She's kind of like a shitty human being. Like he couldn't deal with it, but he kind of stuck it out because he has 3 kids with her. So since Amy has been 14, she has been living off this man. She has like never acquired any skills except for being able to trash talk people, and then try and somehow like elicit this weird fear where everyone kind of tiptoes around her. I don't care. I'm literally putting her on blast online, but and I got her daughter arrested. Like, hi, but so she really relied on him. And so when he decided to leave, that really pissed her off. She got really angry. And what she cares about the most is money and her self-gain. So what she does is she goes after him so hard because for infidelity and shit like that, because he moved in with my mother right away. And she is correct in that. Like he should not have done that. He should have just got his own place and just played it cool a little bit. I mean, like, that was like a really stupid move, unfortunately. So she goes after him, she tries to destroy my mom so bad. So like the kids can't be around. Like really, Jake lived with my mother for a year before his kids could even like come over there at all. Like, it was so crazy. It took such a long court battle just for him to even have the kids like every other weekend or some shit. But he was paying out so much money. So like she ended up getting him to pay off all of her credit card debt, to pay for like alimony, just like money to exist, pay child support, and pay for her schooling, to like work with like mentally challenged kids, which is like fucked up, and like update on that later in the story. But anyway, so I'm really just spilling everything. This is crazy. Like, this is actually crazy that I'm spilling everything. But okay, here we go. Funny thing out of all of this is that she's draining all of his money, and he's like living with my mom, and like he did pay his way and stuff. Like, he's not like, he didn't use her at all, anything like that. Like, he helped out a lot. They ended up moving into a house, and like he's really helped. Like, it's under my mom's name, but he's helped a lot. They tried to start like spreading a rumor that my mother was a gold digger. And it's just like, where's the gold? Like, I don't see it. Like, I think, you know, there really isn't much gold after, like, she has wrung him out. Pretty much, Amy goes on to torture, or like at least attempt to like torture my mother. I scratched my head and it's like really red now and I can't stop staring at it, but I need to ignore it because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And not only does Amy go after him for like all of his money and then call my mother gold digger, also tries to destroy my mother's like image online everywhere, calling her a cougar because she's 10 years older than them, but they're both but they're both adults. Saying that she's like a home wrecking whore and all this stuff, and just like trying to like turn people against her. Came after me like called me F slurs and stuff. Came after like my mother's dead father, my grandfather. Just like some really shitty childish shit. Like literally childish. Like they wrote like threatening notes on like construction paper for like from like a school, probably her kid's construction paper that like Jake paid for. Amy tried to get a restraining order against my mother, but my mother's never met this woman, so the cops are like, you can't get a restraining order against someone you've never met, or has never like done anything to you, like threatened you physically or anything. Like, it's just wild behavior. Like around the year 2013, this is when I first meet Jake's oldest child, my oldest stepsister. We'll call her Lynn. So Lynn was really treated poorly by her mother. Like, will have witnessed her mother yelling at her, calling her the C word, just like always degrading her. Definitely has like a lot of trauma from her. And so I related to, and I feel like this trauma made her kind of like emotionally distant. And so like me just being as a queer person became emotionally distant. And so I related to her in that. And I feel like we were the closest out of all the step siblings. And I really enjoyed spending time with her. Knew her since she was 8 years old. We were really connected. We didn't really see each other other than holidays up until she was like later in her teenage years. And that will bring me to about 2019. Okay. 2019, I'm working at Petco as a dog groomer. I love dogs, have my entire life. Like, I was so happy to be like find a career that I could actually work in, like, with animals. And how I got into dog grooming is also another story time, but that is for a completely different time. I'm working for Petco, and all of a sudden 2020 rolls around, COVID. So like right in the beginning of 2020, like the world shuts down. I stopped being able to work like everyone. I go back, and Petco had become publicly traded on the stock market, which meant a lot of rules changed. A lot of weird things were being implemented into the grooming salon that I really didn't like understand or agree with. And I was like, I'm just here to groom the dogs. Like, I don't like, they wanted me to start selling things. It was like getting ridiculous. And because I put up a little pushback, they like studied the tapes of me grooming and saw that I lifted a dog over 50 pounds and fired me. And which is like in their rule book, whatever they can. I was doing it for years, but I guess that is a fireable offense. And so I was like, okay, I decided to go open my own grooming salon, literally down the road. It's great. And that is when I ended up hiring my stepsister, Lynn, to work for my salon. And I will let you know in part 2 why that was a disaster.